You know, I would have liked 2 points, but that was the biggest moral victory of the season. Moral victory? They lost to the Bruins at home and got iced by Fraser Minton. Yeah, but we all thought Alex Steves was scoring too, and he didn't. So, like, that's pretty good. Oh, my soul hurts. Let's go! It starts with an A and ends with anxiety. Off the charts levels of passion! That's just a nightmare! With you wherever you are, welcome to LFR. Leafs lose 5-3 to the Boston Bruins. I gotta apologize to producer Drew, like right at the beginning of this. It has taken me an unusually long time to shoot this video. I'm rattled. I am rattled over this loss, which is a ridiculous thing to say during an 82 game season on November 8th. That's an insane thing to think. It is a ridiculous way to feel. And I asked for questions ahead of this video, and I want to put this one at the front because it flies in the face of what I was going to do. From Zoltan Vamos, was that even a bad loss? Defensive breakdowns suck, sure. You need a save. Otherwise, the power play cooked. Michelli and Robo are nuts. The third line is the best we've had in years. Hildeby looked good in relief, and the Leafs still had a gritty identity. Am I alone here? And here's the thing, they aren't alone there. I mean, in a nutshell, like, all right, it was pretty close. It was pretty close. And I gotta be honest, I'm having a hard time with that. That might literally be what the game was. It might be. I am physically incapable of looking at it that way. I can't do it. There's no amount of psychic wizardry. There's no amount of mental gymnastics I could lie to myself or you with to convince myself that loss was anything less than unacceptable. Like here, the Leafs just won 3 games in a row, right? That should afford them a little bit of leeway, right? When the Leafs were down to Pittsburgh a couple games ago and just getting their show run in their own building, and Craig Berube, I assume, lost his mind on them at the end of the second period. They came back and they won, and it was wonderful. And after the game, Austin Matthews said this: that third period is who we are. We're an effing tenacious team who work. All 5 guys, all 4 lines. Everybody. Great effing win. Let's keep it going here at home. And they did effing keep it going at home. For 1 game against a Utah team at the end of a road trip on the second half of a back-to-back playing their backup goalie. And you can only beat the team in front of you, and that is the one that Utah placed in front of them. But this one is the Bruins in their current season without Charlie McAvoy or Casey Middlestat. You have home ice advantage. You're rested. And you get dummied the vast majority of the game. Way outshot. Way outchanced. At home. And you get dunked on by Fraser Minton at the end? Ew. 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 I can't stomach it. Oh my God, you could have seen that loss coming from space. They've won 3 straight. They're fat and happy. Fraser Minton's coming to town. You know he's burying. You could see that from the edge of the known universe. You could have seen that. And in that moment, this isn't even a shot at Matthews directly, but in that moment, with that Herculean effort that he had against the Pittsburgh Penguins, I was like, shoot, that was the most captainly he's ever looked. And he hasn't been captain for very long, but it is the most captainly he ever looked. He put the team on his back for that 1 period, and he gave that speech after the game, and I was ready to run through a wall. And then the next game was the Leafs' first full 60-minute effort. This game, right back. To me, mentally, it undid the last 3 games entirely. And I know that's an unhealthy relationship to have with the sports team that you cheer for and make videos about and have to talk about every time they play a game. And I agree with aspects of like, oh yeah, it's no big deal, but you're treating the Leafs like they're a normal team, and they're not. They're not even kind of, they're not even sort of. If the Leafs were not the second hardest working team on the ice again, they win that game handily. Handily. But they were the second hardest working team again. I just do not believe not only do I not believe that the Leafs are the hardest working team on the ice any given moment of any given game, I do not believe that they hate to lose, and I do not believe that they want success from their chosen field more than the average person does. Like, they're not superheroes, guys. Like, I hate to shatter the veneer, but these guys are not superhumans. They're regular humans who are good at hockey. And there's a chance, I'm going to say it's a really good one, that they just don't want what's at the end of the rainbow as much as you, the average person. I know this is crazy. I know it's an insane way to look at it. I know this isn't good. I know this isn't healthy. I ought to talk to a professional about this. But I have watched this team so many times for so many years, and they pull the chute. They strung together 3 wins. They weren't even all good. And they're like, we don't got to show up Saturday. And now tomorrow you got the Hurricanes. And one of 2 things is going to happen. They are going to run the Hurricane show, or they're going to get outskated and murdered, which I'm pretty sure is what's going to happen. Like, dude, these guys know how to buzzkill. Like, I'm just going off on a diatribe right now. Like, let's talk about the actual game. Second power play gets an early opportunity. The Leafs power play hasn't been clicking. All right, let's hear it. Robo! Again! He's on fire! What a feed from Domi. And the Leafs take the early 1-0 lead as they ought to. And they held on to that lead for 18 seconds. And that lead would never come back, by the way. After 40 minutes, the Hockey Night broadcast had the stat that the Bruins were leading the Leafs in rush scoring chances 8-0. This team, as tenacious and whatever they view themselves as, whatever, as they think they are, they cannot defend the rush. It's abysmal. Geekie has it through the neutral zone, and he's got a flat-footed Lorentz who's sort of in his way, but super easy to get around because, again, he's pretty much flat-footed. He hands it off. Here come the Bruins on the zone entry. What is this? What is this? There's no gap control. There's no urgency. They're not moving. This is way too easy. Now what ends up happening is Geekie gets the puck back, he cuts to the middle, he flubs it, gets it back and snipes it. Morgan Geekie, one of the most underrated goal scorers in the entire NHL, you could chalk that up to, it was a bit of a flub play, it was a little lucky, the guy has a good shot. But it's all born from the Leafs' defense of their own blue line being the softest in the show. 1-1, everyone who paid for a ticket, who was happy 18 seconds ago, is now sad. 20 seconds after that, Philip Myers. I know he's their 7th defenseman. They kind of need him right now. Chris Tanev is out, and now we're stuck with this guy. I've never really hammered this guy before, because again, he's the 7th defenseman. But tonight was his worst game as a Leaf, and he looked like he didn't want to be in the show anymore. Look at Simone Benoit and look at Nick Waugh. Like, look at, they're both like, listen, bud, we're right here. Whatever you want to do, we're right here, bud. Well, what does he do? He tries to shovel it by the forechecker to Dakota Joshua, but there's a real good chance that won't work. But it does! It does work. He does get it to Joshua. Now, was that a good idea? No, because he's skating back into his own end into this situation where he's surrounded by a pack of coyotes. It squirts loose. Victor Arvidsson puts it in. You'd love a save. You'd love a competent-looking team. It's 2-1 Boston immediately. You had the lead 38 seconds ago.
Nope, Myers, don't give it away. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh my God. Fold the Leafs or the Bruins. Fold one of them. They can't exist in the same league at the same time and expect me to live past 40.
Not the first time I've seen the Bruins get 2 quick ones against the Toronto Maple Leafs. The biggest house in Ajax belongs to my therapist. Now, 10 minutes later, the Leafs do get one back. It's at the end of a power play. The power play didn't go so good. They didn't score in the power play, but they score right after. Seconds after. Nick Waugh with a dirty between the legs feed in front of Matthias Maccelli. Perfect positioning. He snipes his second in as many games, and it's tied 2-2. And that is the way it would go after one. The second period is what broke me. Because remember when the Leafs beat the Penguins? This was days ago. This was less than a week ago. Remember when the Leafs beat the Penguins and Craig Berube was like still mad? Do you remember why he was still mad? Do you remember? Well, because, they weren't trying very hard. They weren't good the first 2 periods. No. It was something specific. The Leafs were down 2-0 after the first period in that game. And he wasn't even that mad about that. It was a decent period that got away from them. Guess what? 40 minutes left in the game. You got the second period. Let's see. Let's see right now. Good second period, eh, boys? They looked exponentially worse. Listless, lifeless, getting dominated in their own barn while down. And then he screamed at them to be like, don't play hockey like that anymore. And they went, okay, Gregory. And they stopped. Well, in this second period, less than a week later, it's the same thing. Now, certainly doesn't help that 2 minutes and 15 seconds into that second period, the Boston Bruins scored a goal that shouldn't have counted twice. Mikey Azamont comes in on the power play, and we were all so upset with the goaltender interference that we didn't pause to be like, hey, is that offside? And it is! That's offside! That's not a goal. Review it, call it back. It's not a goal. It's offside. Boo! Boo and hiss. Get it off the board. It's still 2-2. What's that? No one caught it. All right. Then the Bruins shovel it in front, and they shovel it in because the Leafs blue paint is a free-for-all, and it's immediately waved off. Now, I don't know if the American broadcast had angles that we didn't in Canada. I still, at the time of shooting this, have not seen evidence that puck went in. I still haven't seen it. I tell you what, if that's a goal, then Riley on Bobrovsky 2023 was a goal. People don't forget, that was a goal! But oh no, the league is rigged in favor of a team that hasn't won since 2 years prior to the moon landing. Yeah, for sure. They review it. You need conclusive evidence to overturn a call. And while a national audience never saw that puck go in, if that puck went in, then the Calgary Flames won the Stanley Cup in 2004. It's overturned. Yep. Conclusive evidence that that puck was in. Good goal. Okay. And what's crazy is it never should have mattered at all because it was offside. The Hockey Night panel was hilarious. I don't remember who said it, but they're like, yeah, they weren't looking for the offside though. And Kevin BX just goes, well, how come I saw it? And then 2 minutes later, I mean, this one's a little simpler. This is just David Pastrnak setting Simone Benoit on fire. Setting him on fire. Just R.I.P. I'm going to miss him. That's the end of that. It's crazy. Like, I don't think I'm being dramatic when I say that was Philip Myers' worst game as a Leaf. And he's already had a couple contenders this year. That might have been Benoit's worst game as a Leaf. Dude, those guys were paired together. Then for the first time this season, the Leafs had a game where the power play was genuinely keeping them in the game. William Nylander hits John Tavares, who is just a gift that I'm going to say we absolutely deserve John Tavares. We do. Because we've had to endure the Leafs. And we got this guy who, he came from the Islanders a very long time ago. It's still weird to me that Tavares is a Leaf. I still can't believe it happened. And I can't believe he's still here. And it just feels like he's on loan from like an actual team, you know? His 8th of the year for less than 4.5, and the Leafs are within 1 before the 3rd. Now, something else happened. Nikita Zadorov demolished Scott Laughton. People are going to pick it apart and say it should have been a penalty, should have been this, should have been that. The Leafs were fortunate a couple times in this game Dude, they even got penalty luck in this game. It's so crazy. The Leafs were fortunate a couple times to not come away with a penalty. The Domi one on Azamont was an insane decision. They were so lucky there. And the McMahon attacking Zadorov, it's a miracle he didn't get an instigator there. I don't think anything's going to happen to Zadorov. One, because, I mean, the league viscerally hates and resents the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's an objective truth, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But also, the league released an explanation for why the Zach Whitecloud hit against Matthew Nyes last year or a couple years ago wasn't a suspension. This, to me, yeah, there's head contact. It's not the first point of contact. It's not the principal point of contact. I don't love the follow-through. Didn't love that at all, and maybe that's something. I just don't think it is. They hate this team, and I don't think it is. Third period. I tell you what, Dennis Hildeby's in there in relief for Anthony Stolarz, who got pulled for his first time in his Leafs tenure. Hildeby did great, and he didn't have to do all that great because the Leafs had more of the puck. The Leafs were getting shots. The Leafs were getting chances. Nylander, I genuinely thought, tied it. But he rattled it off all three posts. And finally, with a hair over 3 minutes to go in the game, Fraser Minton.
Oh, giveaway! Kastelik, Minton! You guys are the most dependable losers in sports. There are undiscovered alien species who saw that coming before the game began. You are awful.
Fraser Minton. Yo, I don't even kind of care that the Bruins are retaining on Brandon Carlo. Give me back. Give me back. Not everyone loves the Scott Laughton trade either. I like that player, and the Leafs' only complete effort of the season was his only complete game of the season, which I don't think was an accident, by the way. I like him. Carlo? Oof! Oh my God! Ah! I've had to watch the Leafs pay Max Domi to play center this year because they traded this kid. Oh my God! And even though the Leafs played well in the third period, even though the Leafs got their chances, even though Jeremy Swayman stood on his head, you get the result that you deserve. This might have been good for them. This might have been good for them. Not every game is going to work out the way it did in Pittsburgh, where you get a comeback against a team with a porous defense and an injured goalie. Because Jari got injured in that game. You know that, right? Remember they had that huge comeback against Columbus Game 4 of the 2020 COVID bubble series? Merzlikins got hurt in the middle of all that. And then Korpisalo came in and played Game 5 and tapped them on their supple bottom. This keeps happening. Where these guys get these big and bad comebacks in games they don't deserve to be in, and they think they're great. You deserved to lose this game. Beginning, middle, and end. And I don't think it's going to be a valuable lesson for them. All these guys do is learn lessons. Usually when you attend this many lessons and still fail the exam, they hold you back. But no, the Leafs just march forward every year into another 82-game season where they string us along. Steve, you're being a little too dramatic. Look at Berube. I said this on the podcast. After a win, Berube sounded like a coach about to get fired because he doesn't understand what he has to do to get them to listen to him. And he's already torn the paint off the wall once in the Pittsburgh game. A coach only gets so many of those per season before the team just completely tunes him out. That's a coach, a Stanley Cup winning coach, a coach with a really good career record who has no idea how to get through to these guys. None. And like, do you? Like, what's like? Is Scotty Bowman going to come out of retirement? And what's going to happen? Every coach who's ever won a cup in NHL history could be resurrected and come back to life and do the Dragon Ball Z fusion dance and form into one super hive mind coach. And I don't think they'd be able to get through to these guys. They don't care half as much as the average fan. They just don't, and it's difficult to convince me otherwise. Like, what are they? They cried after a loss or something? Like, you know how many... Man! Like, first time? Really? That's it? What else you got? Like, listen, I've been to a Leaf game this year. They blew it against Detroit and got no points. That was super dope. The only reason I went is 3 Red Wings fans invited me, and it was a free ticket. That's why I went. I am not paying money to watch the current Toronto Maple Leafs play hockey. If you catch me in that building this year, just know I didn't pay for it. Which sucks, because I actually, now that I think of it, I did pay for a game in December. Damn! Ah! But it's because I already bought them. You won't catch me at a second game that I paid for. And now they got Carolina tomorrow. We'll see which version of them shows up. We'll see if they give a good gosh darn. We'll see if they care, Olina. For now, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know if I'm being dramatic. Let me know if they just are dogless. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. At least they're trying harder than the Leafs.